Hello and welcome. You're watching the Tov Jewish News channel. My name is Michael Wielensky, and my guest in our digital studio is Moshe Feiglin, the head of the Zeut Party, of the Identity Party. Moshe, welcome to our digital studio.
Hello, Mike.
So, first and foremost, we'll tackle questions of international relations of Israel with the outer world, let's put it that way. A couple of days ago, we saw the visit of Anthony Blinken, the Foreign Secretary of the United States, to Israel, and he basically made Prime Minister Netanyahu promise him that Israel will not encourage, voluntary immigration of Gazans from Gaza. So basically, Israel won't give money to Gazans to leave Gaza, won't build them houses outside of Gaza so they can leave. And we all know that this is a problem, that the Gazans are a source of insecurity for Israel's southern border. Moshe, how do you see that?
Well, there are a few aspects to that horrific request or pressure from the United States. First of all, from the so-called Palestinians, the residents of Gaza. Basically, what the United States of America is doing is forcing them to stay in this terrible situation. There is a combined interest, Egyptian interest and an American interest, to make sure that these people, the majority of them wish to leave, will not be able to. Basically, they want to leave. They left in huge numbers before the 7th of October. And now many more than them, even longing to start their life somewhere else in the world. There's lots of places that already accepted them before and quietly will be willing to accept them now, but it does not fit the Egyptian interest and it does not fit the American interest. The Egyptian interest is to destroy Israel. Okay, and that was always like that. The weapons. I mean, using the Gaza Strip as a knife in the heart of Israel, and see how the Israelis bleeding almost to death is an Egyptian long interest. Under a frame of a so-called peace agreement and so on, but this is what it is. Okay, all the or most of the weapon that the Hamas used at the 7th of October came from Egypt, directly from Egypt. So that's the Egyptian interest. The American interest is to create a Palestinian state, which is part of a wide American strategy um, uh, against Iran, China, Russia, and so on. So that's the American interest. It is not the Gaza resident interests, and definitely not the Israeli interest. Okay, the Israeli interest is very clear. First of all, justice, not security, justice. And when I'm saying justice, is that we all should remember that the Gaza Strip is part of Eretz Israel, the land of Israel. The Gaza Strip is the western seashore of the Negev. There's no doubt about it. The city of Gaza is a biblical city with 3,000 years of Jewish population in it until 1929, when the Arab programs, Meoraot Tarpat, destroyed the Jewish community in Gaza. There are Jews in Gaza all the years. The Arabs just came in the last 200-300 years. Okay, but the history, so of the place is a Jewish history. So first of all, our interest is justice. It's ours. Second is, of course, security. And in order to have security in Gaza, no fences will help you, no technology, no army, no missiles, anti missiles, and all this technology proved to be baloney. Okay, they should not be there. Okay, so they want to leave. This place belongs to us. We don't want them there. It's good for everybody, and the Americans are putting their pressure that that simple solution will not be. Now we should ask ourselves, besides all that, how come the Americans interfere in such a basic strategic interest of Israel? Why do we let Blinken force Netanyahu, and why Netanyahu is taking this force, okay, against the very basic Israeli interests? The solution, the very simple solution, against that very simple solution.
Moshe, I have the
So,
following
so
question for you.
many will say that it's because Israel needs the ammunition from America, and without that we cannot win the war. Now that's the biggest lie. The biggest lie. In order to win the war against against Gaza, okay, and the war is not against Hamas, it's against Gaza. Hamas is the leadership of Gaza, the leadership that the people of Gaza elected in huge majority still stand behind every, and it doesn't matter if tomorrow morning you'll call their leadership Islamic Jihad, or you'll call them the PLO. It's the same thing. Same thing. Our enemy is Gaza and the people of Gaza.
Moshe, I want to ask
So
you a question about a clarification question about something that you said. You were talking about the relations of US and Israel. And my question to you is, how would you describe the relations of the US and Israel nowadays? Are we basically a colony of the US? And what type of relations would you want with the US? So, the reality and your expectations.
yes, Michael, I think it's a very important question. But let me just complete what I started because it leads to this question. Uh, uh, in order to win the war against Gaza, Israel do not need at all the Americans. Israel in 1948 won the independent war against 5 Arab countries, 5 armies with tanks and airplanes in 1948, when there was an American embargo on sending any weapon to the Middle East, basically to Israel. Okay, same thing in 1967. In the Six-Day War, Israel fought with French airplanes, Mirages, not F-16s and F-15s and F-35, with French uh, combat airplanes. So in order to win against the Gaza Strip, against the Hamas, the terror organization in Gaza, Israel do not need America. Israel do not almost not don't need army at all. In order to win against Hamas, we need to close the water. We need to close or bomb just the gas tanks, the oil tanks. Okay. We need to close the electricity. We need to close any kind of electric connection, phones and whatever there is, and that's it. That's all we need to do in order to win the war. Okay, and let them rot to death. You wanna, now when you don't have gasoline, when you don't have energy to that make you able to breathe. Okay, they need the gas in order to pump air into the tunnels. So if you want to breathe, we promise not to kill those who will come out with our hostages. Okay, you'll gain your life if you'll come out. Okay, and then you put them all the Gaza people, in one big sterilized camp. Okay, no visitors from the world. As long as you have our hostages, you're not going to see no UN or any other UN or any kind of humanitarian aid. Okay, and every country that have a problem with that, welcome to take 20,000, 50,000, 100,000 until we'll solve the problem. That's the victory that we're looking for. And of course, right afterwards, we should rebuild Gush Katif, rebuild the Jewish city of Gaza, just as we did with Ashkelon and Ashdod and 600 Arab villages that we destroyed and rebuilt with Jewish population in 1948. That's the way to win that war and make sure that our kids will not suffer from the same threat in generations to come. That's the only way to do it. Okay, and you don't need the Americans in order to win that war. Why do we need the Americans? Why we think that we need the Americans? Because when you don't want to win, when you want to keep the situation of the 6th of October, when you want to keep the concepts of the Oslo agreements, okay, when you want, then they have to stay there. The Arabs have to stay there. If there's no Arabs in the Gaza Strip, if you won that war, you also erased the Oslo process and the Oslo concept. Now, the question is, what's the problem with that? If it didn't work, so throw the Oslo process to hell and just win the war and forget about the American pressure, and that's it. Everything is great. There's only one problem with that. Under the wings of Oslo, in the last 30 years, a whole layer of leadership in Israel, specifically in the army, in the security system of Israel, in the army, in the Mossad, in the GSS, in the Shabak, all the security system, of course, political system, justice system, the media, the academy, the gate to the upper level of Israeli leadership on all areas was a gate of Oslo. If you talked like I'm talking now, should destroy Oslo and rebuild Gush Katif, you could forget about being a high rank officer in the army, for example, or somebody in a real successful having a real successful career in the Israeli media or the academy or so on. Okay, so you
Moshe,
have a
with your
whole
permission,
you
I
have
want to
a whole
move
layer
to
of
the next
leadership in Israel.
question. I want to
So I'm,
ask.
I'm just I'm just I'm just saying that there's a combined interest between the Americans who wants Palestinian state and the Jewish and the Israeli leadership who wants the same thing in order to keep its hegemony in power. This is what we deal with.
Moshe Feiglin, it's been an amazing interview. It's always a pleasure to interview you. We had with us Moshe Feiglin, head of the Zod party. Thank you again, Moshe. And thank you also to all of our viewers who saw this interview. Please don't forget to subscribe to us to all of our platforms. Don't forget especially to subscribe to our YouTube and WhatsApp. You will see the link in the description. Thank you again. Have a great day.